No protection, no privileges, no path back. Published the 27th of December 2025. The United Kingdom shall no longer provide armed police protection to the Duke of Sussex. The decision stands. No further reassessment shall be entertained. And quote, Official Declaration, Buckingham Palace, 25 December 2025, 9 GMT. It dropped like a thunderclap on Christmas morning, and with that single line, Buckingham Palace obliterated any lingering hope that the House of Windsor might still leave the door ajar for Prince Harry. For years, royal watchers speculated that a quiet reconciliation might one day unfold behind gilded gates. But as of the 25th of December 2025, King Charles III has officially locked the gates shut, not with ambiguity, but with authority. The royal household has ceased all pretenses of patience. The illusion of dual monarchy is over. There is now only one future court, and Harry is no longer part of it. At the centre of the storm lies a legal decision, but its consequences are seismic. Prince Harry will no longer receive taxpayer-funded armed police protection while on British soil. What was once a debate over risk level has now become a constitutional line in the sand. The message, titles, mean nothing without loyalty. Sources close to the palace confirm the timing was anything but random. The statement, drafted at Clarence House, was released just hours before the King appeared at the Christmas Day service at St George's Chapel, flanked by Prince William, Princess Catherine, and Princess Anne in a display of coordinated royal symbolism. And then came the moment that stunned even seasoned royal insiders. Inside a private reception following the service, King Charles is said to have unveiled the historic Oriental Circlet, a regal piece once worn by Queen Victoria herself. But rather than hand it to Queen Camilla, he turned to Princess Catherine, publicly bestowing the crown upon her in what officials described as a gesture of succession clarity. Her Royal Highness the Princess of Wales shall henceforth hold the ceremonial stewardship of the Oriental Crown, in trust for the future of the House of Windsor. Buckingham Palace, 25 December 2025, 13:14 GMT. It was not fashion, it was a declaration. This is the era of William and Catherine, and everyone else, including the Sussexes, stands outside the frame. Insiders now confirm that Harry had made a final appeal through legal channels to restore his security privileges believed to have involved quiet back-channel communication with Justice Secretary Shabana Mahmood and RAVEC, the UK's Royal and VIP Executive Committee. For a brief moment in early December, it seemed Harry might succeed. Reports in The Guardian and The Mirror hinted at a possible case review. But on December 23, RAVEC issued a final, unequivocal rejection. Then came the palace's confirmation. Not only would the monarchy endorse RAVEC's ruling, it would make it official royal policy. This is not about risk level, this is about status. Prince Harry no longer holds a position warranting Crown-funded protection. Senior royal correspondent, The Times. From Clarence House to Sandringham, the shift in tone was unmistakable. Far from remaining neutral, King Charles is understood to have personally lobbied to ensure the ruling was final, irreversible, and codified across royal institutions. Alongside the security ruling, the palace also confirmed sweeping new restrictions on the Sussex brand and its connection to the monarchy. The Archewell Foundation, once wrapped in the soft glow of royal inspiration, is now stripped of all legitimacy in the eyes of the Crown. Effective immediately. Archewell may no longer use royal imagery, titles, or seals of legitimacy. Any association with British royal patronages, Commonwealth initiatives, or UK-based diplomacy is now prohibited. Projects referencing the Sussexes in connection with Windsor will be flagged by the palace's new Digital Integrity Task Force, created to protect royal trademarks and prevent representational confusion. 19 Decree. This move has left Meghan and Harry's global media presence, especially in the US, deeply exposed. As one royal aide told The Telegraph, "This is no longer a family rift, it is a formal decoupling of public trust." As Harry's institutional links collapse, Princess Catherine's star only ascends. On December 20, a new website quietly launched under the royal household banner, The Crown's Compass, a digital platform mapping her role in education, charity, diplomacy, and now ceremonial stewardship of the monarchy's feminine legacy. A page dedicated to the Oriental circlet reads, "A crown not of conquest but of continuity, entrusted to Her Royal Highness the Princess of Wales, in trust for the future." Commentatrud. This is the clearest signal yet that Catherine is no longer merely consort in waiting. She is being positioned as a monarch's equal, the moral and symbolic axis around which modern royalty will turn. The palace is preparing a multi-pronged campaign to consolidate this message. A revised patronage map will formally reassign all Sussex-related charities to other senior royals. Legal documentation will be filed across international media platforms to restrict the use of royal titles and affiliations. An internal audit will investigate all instances between 2000 and 2025 where the Sussexes may have misused royal representation in public campaigns. What remains of Harry and Meghan's platform now depends on private branding, not institutional association. And in the cutthroat world of Hollywood and philanthropy, that distinction may prove fatal. Published the 27th of December, 2025, Royal Insider Network. She said she loved me, but it was never love, it was positioning, and I missed every sign. Prince Harry, private conversation with a royal aide, the 24th of December 2025. Sandringham Estate, 23 December 2025. He arrived without warning, no security entourage, no Meghan, no children. Prince Harry's unannounced presence at the gates of Sandringham took the royal staff by complete surprise. But inside the Queen's old study, now Princess Anne's stewardship office, he wasn't seeking reconciliation, he was seeking answers. And what he received was a reality-shattering confession. The man who greeted Harry wasn't a royal secretary or legal counsel. It was a figure from his mother's past, a trusted former palace officer, long retired, but still consulted by senior royals for his discretion and loyalty. His name has not been disclosed, but sources confirm he was part of Princess Diana's personal security detail during the final 2 years of her life. And that man, calm, grave, with files in hand, told Harry the truth. For nearly 2 hours, Harry sat in stunned silence as he was shown internal memos from 2017 suggesting Meghan Markle's PR team made direct contact with tabloid editors before her engagement to Harry was confirmed. Footage of pre-marriage interviews where Meghan allegedly rehearsed narratives about racism, family rejection, and royal mistreatment months before any conflict had publicly occurred. Communications between Meghan and a former Hollywood manager indicating she had requested positioning advice for global branding as a Duchess figure as early as mid-2016. The files also referenced off-the-record testimonies from Meghan's ex-husband, Trevor Engelson, who has reportedly agreed to share sealed documents from their divorce documents, which include NDAs, financial clauses, and warnings about repeated public misrepresentation. Harry's face, insiders say, went completely still. And then he asked a single question. "Did my mother know?" To which the man simply replied, "She would have stopped this. That's why I had to come to you." And it's a lox was. Sources inside the palace say Harry left the meeting visibly shaken, pacing the royal gardens until midnight. He reportedly did not return calls from Meghan for 11 hours. On Christmas Eve, shortly after 10 a.m., Harry summoned a royal protocol officer and made a chilling request. "I want to know what protections exist if I declare Meghan mentally unfit for guardianship." It was not a declaration of war, it was the first legal precursor to a possible custody strategy. But even as Harry begins to emotionally and morally separate from Meghan, a powerful chain still binds them. A $41 million joint content contract signed in 2022 with one of Hollywood's biggest entertainment firms. Under that contract, Harry and Meghan are contractually obligated to appear together in all promotional campaigns tied to the Arkawell Identity series, co-host the upcoming 2026 Global Summit on Mental Health and Leadership, participate in live-streamed family moments every quarter for their subscribers, including scenes with Archie and Lilibet. Meghan's legal team, based in Los Angeles, has already warned Harry that any public separation, derogatory statement, or breach of appearance schedule could result in tens of millions in damages, and worse, Meghan could claim contractual parental alienation. In essence, even if Harry wants out, he has to keep playing the part, at least in public. Back in Montecito, sources claim Meghan smashed a phone, cancelled a Christmas PR shoot, and locked herself in her private study for over 6 hours when she learned Harry had returned to the UK without her. But behind closed doors, she's moving fast. Meghan has called an emergency meeting with executives at several streaming and publishing firms, demanding they accelerate the release of content centered around Lilibet, including a children's book series titled Lilibet the Brave, a docu-feature on motherhood under scrutiny, and a controversial VR experience said to recreate Diana's final days from the perspective of her granddaughter. This isn't just brand survival, it's counter-offensive storytelling. Meghan is trying to cement herself as the maternal torchbearer of Diana's legacy before Harry can rewrite the narrative. But what she doesn't know is this. Trevor Engelson is about to speak, and when he does, Meghan's carefully built image may crumble overnight. Published the 27th of December 2025, Royal Insider Network. She doesn't marry men, she recruits them. End quote. Trevor Engelson, in a private message to Royal Legal Counsel, December 2025. New York City, 24 December 2025. The meeting took less than 40 minutes, but the contents may undo nearly a decade of public perception. Trevor Engelson, Meghan Markle's ex-husband, and once a silent figure in the Sussex narrative, met with 2 members of the Windsor legal team under private protection in Manhattan. What he delivered wasn't just gossip, it was documentation, legally binding, notarized, and deeply incriminating. The first bombshell came in the form of a non-disclosure agreement, NDA, signed by Engelson in 2013. The NDA prohibited him from publicly discussing Meghan's personal psychological assessments during their marriage, her alleged staging of media moments for career advancement, early drafts of a semi-autobiographical screenplay centered on a woman who marries into aristocracy and manipulates public sympathy. But now, in light of a legally compelling national interest invoked by the Windsor legal team, citing concerns for the moral and psychological well-being of 2 royal minors, Trevor has agreed to revoke the NDA and cooperate fully. The files also include financial logs showing Meghan commissioned a ghostwriter in 2015 to draft a memoir titled Becoming Royal: The Outsider's Path to Power, a full year before meeting Prince Harry. Emails between Meghan and her then agent outlining a plan to build empathy by positioning herself as a misunderstood woman of color, to be deployed selectively during key media cycles. A notarized document describing a social leverage strategy tied to future motherhood, including a chilling line. If married into power, motherhood must be narrated, never witnessed. Harry was reportedly given access to these files via encrypted courier on the morning of December 25, while staying in the private guest wing of Sandringham. Within hours, he asked to meet with Princess Catherine and Princess Anne privately. Insiders say the conversation was short, quiet, and ended with only 6 words from Harry. "I want them out, both of them." Oh. When pressed for clarification, he allegedly added, "Archie and Lilibet are not props, and I will not let her use them as brand bait. Not anymore." He then made a phone call to Los Angeles, not to Meghan, but to his entertainment lawyer requesting an emergency legal opinion on child exploitation under commercial contracts. It's not This triggered an internal risk review by the firm that manages the Sussex's media appearances, and by midday on December 26, the clause that had once held Harry hostage was finally found. In the event that one party is credibly accused of exploiting shared minors for commercial gain, the non-accused party reserves the right to temporarily suspend joint appearances and seek arbitration to sever contracts without penalty. Oh, it was the first real crack in the legal chain binding Harry to Meghan. Back in California, Meghan's reaction was nothing short of volcanic. According to sources within her PR agency, Meghan cancelled a scheduled New Year's Eve recording with Spotify, fired one of her senior image consultants, contacted 3 litigation firms to preemptively prepare for defamation and contract sabotage. She has also reportedly begun working on a last-minute heartfelt documentary centered on single motherhood, emotional betrayal, and being abandoned by a broken family, set to drop on January 14, 2026. But with Harry now invoking Clause 6b14, the clock may run out before the cameras can even roll. At Windsor, Princess Anne is said to be quietly drawing up a 3-stage plan for Harry's reintegration and the moral reclamation of his children. Soft reinstatement, Harry appears solo at the January 6 charity forum under the royal banner, marking his first non-Sussex-affiliated event since 2020. Narrative rehabilitation. Official royal statement denouncing the commercialization of children under royal names, without naming Meghan. Public reclaiming. A photo of Archie and Lilibet with King Charles and Prince William at Balmoral is being prepared, but only after legal green light. These aren't just symbolic moves, they are calculated, constitutionally reviewed steps toward cutting Meghan out morally, publicly, and eventually, legally. Balmoral Castle, 27 December 2025, 10:02 a.m. The air in the room was cold, not because of the Scottish winter, but because of the urgency in Prince William's voice. For the first time in nearly a decade, the heirs and guardians of the crown sat down without courtiers, without PR, and without Queen Camilla. Only King Charles, Princess Anne, Prince William, and surprisingly, Duchess Sophie were present. The meeting, later dubbed the Balmoral Reset, lasted 2 hours. It had one goal: protect the next generation, and define the line that cannot be crossed again. Princess Anne. Documents reviewed by the Royal Legal Office, but not yet filed in UK court, outline a provisional custody request by Prince Harry. He is seeking full legal guardianship of Archie and Lilibet while residing in the UK, a freeze on all commercial use of their names, voices, or likeness, institutional approval for all educational, media, and security decisions involving the children while in UK territory. What changed? According to insider briefings, Harry received classified intelligence from a UK-US joint cybersecurity team showing that Lilibet Diana and Princess Lilibet were registered as brand names in over 42 jurisdictions, including tax havens like Cyprus and the Cayman Islands. Meghan had been attempting to license Lilibet's name for organic skincare for toddlers, NFT children's storybooks, Lilibet and Me animated television show pre-production deal with a Nordic streamer, a soft launch clothing line already trademarked in Liechtenstein. Ironically, it was a minor scandal in Rome that unraveled the web. During a charity auction hosted at the Vatican on December 20, a children's painting titled Hope by Princess Lilibet was quietly withdrawn from sale. The reason? Vatican staff questioned how a 4-year-old could grant permission to sell work under a royal trademark. That incident triggered a reverse IP search, which exposed the network of companies Meghan quietly set up under the Archewell umbrella, many using Delaware-registered shell corporations tied to Hollywood insiders, and one European crypto investor flagged for laundering. King Charles reportedly slammed his fist on the table when shown the visual diagram of this network. She is monetizing Diana's legacy again, but this time through a child, King Charles. Simultaneously, a quiet financial freeze has been enacted. Swiss banking authorities confirmed that a request for review had been submitted via UK diplomatic channels, focusing on two Archewell-linked accounts believed to house residual proceeds from Spotify and Netflix, private donations made under false charity pretense, licensing advances related to Princess Lilibet projects. Meghan, upon learning of this, was seen boarding a private jet from Los Angeles to Zurich. Her spokesperson claimed she was visiting philanthropic partners in Europe. But the timing is damning. One British tabloid went further. She flew into Europe with a legal team, not to sign deals but to secure what's left of her empire before it crumbles. The Daily Enclave, Dec 27. Duchess Sophie, known for her calm public image, has emerged as the monarchy's silent executor. As Meghan's financial schemes began collapsing, it was Sophie who commissioned the reverse IP audit on the Lilibet brand, contacted education oversight boards to block homeschooling accreditations linked to Lilibet's private tutor in California, privately reached out to Trevor Engelson to corroborate Meghan's past media manipulations involving minors. Sophie's private remark to Princess Catherine, now widely circulated, speaks volumes. This isn't about revenge. It's about safeguarding the moral spine of this institution. To counter Meghan's likely media counterattack, Kensington Palace is preparing a short film to be released the 5th of January 2026. It will feature archival footage of Queen Elizabeth II reading to children, unseen moments between Catherine, Charlotte, and Lilibet at Sandringham, a voiceover by Princess Catherine centered on the theme, "Children are not currency." No Sussex child will appear directly, but the message will be clear. By the end of the Balmoral meeting, 3 declarations were signed. The Children's Charter, barring any Windsor minor from being used in monetized media without royal consent. The Royal Guardian Doctrine, naming Princess Anne and Prince William as interim protectors of royal heirs under threat. The Windsor Reset Order, legally declaring Meghan Markle a non-affiliated public figure with no access to royal privileges, symbolism, or event participation. And in one final symbolic moment, King Charles ordered the removal of Diana's framed photo from Meghan's former dressing room in Frogmore. Legacy must be earned, not sold. His Majesty's final words before leaving Balmoral: Harry goes solo, Meghan goes nuclear, and Charlotte takes the crown. As the sun dipped below the London skyline, a wave of gasps swept across the crowd outside St Mary's Hospital. Prince Harry, clad in a dark wool coat, stepped out of a black Land Rover alone. There was no Meghan, no entourage, no staged smiles. Instead, Harry was holding a bouquet of white lilies, a tribute to the late Queen Elizabeth II and to a royal children's hospice Catherine quietly reopened just days before. It was his first official appearance under what palace aides now call the Solo Protocol. The Solo Protocol was initiated immediately after the Balmoral reset. Under this measure, Prince Harry may appear at select royal-affiliated charities only under the following conditions: no spouse or partner present, no children in attendance, no press arrangements permitted by the Sussex PR team, all speech content pre-approved by the Royal Office of External Engagement. This move, insiders say, was not punitive but protective. It's about giving Harry space to reconnect with royal duty without the distractions of Meghan's media strategy, a palace source explained. Harry's visit to the hospice lasted 47 minutes. He spoke to families. He sat beside a terminally ill boy named Joseph and handed him a toy fire truck. But what captured the world's attention was the note he left at the memorial wall. To those we've lost, and to those still worth fighting for, H. Barely 2 hours after Harry's quiet solo appearance, Meghan Markle's legal team filed a temporary injunction against unauthorized institutional interference in her children's branding opportunities. At the same time, sources inside Netflix confirmed that Meghan's production company has completed editing a 42-minute special titled "When They Locked Me Out: The True Price of Royal Silence." The episode, which is rumored to include staged reenactments of palace arguments, a child actress playing Lilibet, And a veiled reference to Princess Catherine's white-walled rage has set off alarms inside Buckingham Palace. One royal aide described it as a declaration of war dressed up as a documentary. Even Netflix board members are reported to be split over the ethics of the content, with at least one senior executive calling for an internal review. On December 25, Kensington Palace quietly released a single photo. It wasn't the usual family Christmas portrait. There was no staged tree, no choreographed smiles. It was a candid black and white image of Princess Charlotte, sitting in a high-backed chair in Windsor's East Gallery, her arms crossed, eyes locked on the camera with startling clarity. She wore a simple tartan dress. At her side rested a leather-bound book belonging to Queen Victoria. The caption read, "For those who listen in silence, Merry Christmas. See." Within minutes, the image went viral. Vogue called it a masterclass in restrained power. The New York Times described it as a child, not being used but standing watch. A former royal photographer tweeted, "She looks like she already knows the future and accepts the weight." What most didn't notice was the brooch on Charlotte's collar. According to palace historians, it once belonged to Princess Margaret, a gift from Queen Elizabeth to her younger sister, symbolizing both protection and rebellion. The choice was not accidental. Multiple royal strategists confirmed that the image was part of a larger counter-programming campaign to dismantle Meghan's children as brand narrative. Instead of showing Lilibet in public or letting Archie appear in commercial ventures, the palace offered an icon of dignity, restraint, and lineage through Charlotte. "Charlotte is not performing," said one royal source. "She is present. There's a difference Meghan never understood." The battle is no longer just within Windsor. Australian media praised Princess Anne's decisive moves and questioned why Harry hadn't already returned to the UK full-time. Canadian papers openly sided with the Crown, especially after leaked data showed Arcueil failed to pass Canada's federal charity ethics review. Used tabloids, however, remained split, some echoing Meghan's claims of systemic erasure, others mocking her Netflix special as Emmy bait with zero dignity. Meanwhile, the Commonwealth youth groups have issued a joint statement applauding the monarchy's firm boundary in protecting minors from media commodification. In the background of all this, Princess Catherine has not spoken publicly, but royal insiders confirm that it was Catherine who selected the photo of Charlotte and arranged for the Queen Victoria book to be placed in frame. It was also Catherine who personally requested that no staff or PR firm leak pre-briefings about the release. Instead, she let the image speak. And speak it did. Geneva, Switzerland, 29 December 2025. She arrived unannounced. Wearing a muted navy coat and a single poppy pin, Princess Catherine entered the United Nations Council building through a side entrance, avoiding press and protocol. The meeting was off the books, a closed-door discussion with global child advocacy leaders regarding digital rights, identity protection, and ethical media governance for minors. Though Catherine made no public statements, her presence triggered immediate speculation that the Princess of Wales was spearheading a Commonwealth-wide charter for child dignity to be unveiled at the Spring Commonwealth Leaders Summit in 2026. A senior delegate described the princess as calm, resolute, and morally unyielding, noting, "While others weaponize their children in the media, she's quietly building a fortress around hers and ours." Just hours later, a confidential £1, 2 million donation appeared in the ledger of the Windsor Children's Trust, designated for programs in conflict zones. The donor was listed only as H.R.M.W., His Royal Majesty's Wayfarer, a codename royal watchers quickly identified, Prince Harry. The donation came with a one-line instruction: "For those not born into peace, may they at least grow up in it." Lenbo. Though the palace made no public comment, insiders revealed Catherine was made aware of the donation before her Geneva meeting and left a single white rose at the UN Children's Garden after the session. It was interpreted as a private acknowledgement to Harry, a moment of shared purpose, though their paths now diverged entirely. At exactly 8 p.m. GMT, Meghan Markle's controversial special, When They Locked Me Out, was released. But instead of dominating headlines, it was quickly overshadowed by international condemnation. UNICEF denounced the use of child lookalikes for dramatized scenes. Former royal correspondents flagged factual inconsistencies. The public petition to remove the Sussex title from promotional materials surpassed 1.4 million signatures within 12 hours. In one explosive moment, Meghan claimed, "They erased Lilibet's birthright, but Charlotte gets a crown and a castle. Oh for it." The clip went viral, but not in her favor. One commentator wrote, "Lilibet is being used to wage a media war against a child who never asked for the spotlight. Charlotte's strength is that she never seeks it." Buckingham Palace issued a midnight decree, the final legal severing of the Sussexes from royal privileges. All financial restitution demands are now escalated to formal arbitration. All communication must proceed via legal counsel. All symbols of the crown, including titles, motifs, and crests, are banned from any commercial product or media appearance related to the Sussex brand. But it was the final clause that sparked global shock. No royal claims shall be conferred upon the children of the House of Sussex, nor shall any descendant inherit titles, privileges, or expectations beyond those afforded by common citizenship of the United Kingdom. Tenches, in effect, Archie and Lilibet are now legally considered private British citizens, with no connection to royal succession. King Charles III released a pre-recorded address titled A Reflection and a Blessing. For 13 minutes, the king reflected on his mother's legacy, Britain's resilience, and the crown's duty to evolve. But it was his closing paragraph that moved the nation. "To Archie, wherever you are, I loved you from the moment I first held you. The door of this family does not close with anger, but with duty. One day, should you come not to ask for titles, but to understand the truth, this nation will meet you with quiet grace. Until then, may peace find you before pride does." The message was not addressed to Meghan, nor to Lilibet. It was a grandfather's last olive branch to a grandson lost in the fog of media, ambition, and misaligned legacy. Sources confirm that earlier this week, 3 royal figures, Princess Anne, Prince William, and Princess Catherine, gathered at Balmoral for a private ritual. There was no press, no photo released. But a staffer reported seeing them place a sealed envelope in Queen Elizabeth's private writing desk, the same desk used to write the 1952 accession letter. "It was a note for the future," the staffer said, "not for Harry, not for Meghan, for Charlotte, and those who will carry the weight forward. Win you to sit. I win in Dulles well prosit. Maybe not." For while the public scandal ends with legal clarity and emotional closure, the moral legacy of this royal chapter belongs not to the headlines, but to the quiet players. To Catherine, who fought without shouting. To Harry, who gave without broadcasting. And to Charlotte, who never needed a crown to prove she was born to wear one.